Hello and welcome back. And as I said, if it's good, it must happen twice. Now, we had Prophet Abiam once on our show before, but this time it was in Ghana. But then this chap has got his whole complete life right here in the UK, and we decided to follow up to see what it is that he's doing here. A noble and gallant Ghanaian making a difference in a different nation. And indeed, there are many Ghanaians here in the UK doing marvelous work. And in our trip, PM Express, the London series, we'll be talking to a whole host of Ghanaians, and you will be amazed what some of our gallant men are doing here. Now, seated right by the fireside in a very comfortable living room with the Prophet, we are going to engage. And he has an amazing lifestyle which blows my mind, because here is a man of God who's obviously a prophet. But then he has Abiam Productions that produces, your everyday movie. You would expect that, being that he's a prophet, is all going to be Jesus of Nazareth or Moses crossing the Red Sea. But no, not him. He is in business and doing everyday business. But let me just say thank you very much for this invite and this warm welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Prof, I know your story is long, and we're going to tell listeners the story, but I want us to start with Abiam Productions. Now, I've seen one movie, The Joke.
Bismarck the Joke.
Bismarck the Joke. There's The Word. I've seen the trailer for The Word, and then Abate.
Yeah.
I must commend you. Picture, editing, perfect.
Thank you.
I'm not a particular fan of Ghanaian movies, but I can vouch for that. But what amazes me is, you're a prophet, and the movie doesn't depict, a prophet.
Of course, being a prophet, you have to also look at people's life and to be able to let people know what sort of life is in this world. So I would say it's part of prophetic work. Not only saying that God said, but sometimes stories can tell you about what God is saying based on the life of men. So we see God in men, and we see our daily life in men. So it won't be like me saying Jesus, but based on the story you hear, make you laugh and make you smile, and also make you think. It's part of the prophetic work.
Your colleagues, in the ministry, are they in line, or do they think, oh no, this is too extreme?
I think that each and everyone has their own opinion. And when you are in this world, you must understand that you are here for a mission. And if your mission or your assignment is in that line, you have to focus by that. Whether you like it or not, people will talk of you. They will say whatever they want to say. But you should look at, focus. Whilst people are busy talking about you, you have to be busy doing things and fulfilling your goals. So for me, I normally don't look at what people are saying, as long as it is the will of God and it is right for man to do, or for me to do as a child of God, and also as a citizen of this world. I must do, not based on what somebody is saying. Although we may listen to the opinions of people, but you have to also analyze the opinion and find out, is it extreme, as they say, or is it just that is mere, jealousy, or, people criticize what they cannot do. It may not be that it's evil, but it's just that the person cannot do, so he criticizes. So you look at, is it bad or is it good? If it's good, then go for it.
You direct your movies yourself?
Of course.
Is it through passion or something that you studied? I'm saying that because I like what I saw.
I personally... the women are actresses, and then if you are a father, you are like a director, that needs to direct your children the right way. And even being a prophet, you are a seer, you need to direct the ways of people. So I would say to you that in our life, everyone can be a director, but at the end of the day, as you're saying, you're looking at the pictures and everything, it's a professional work. I have that passion, and I can see that it's in me. My mother was somebody like that when we were growing up. I saw my mom, they used to call it play. She would gather people and show them how to act, in their roles. And so I grew up with my mom in that sense. And so I saw those sort of things. So coming to direct, it was easy. And I schooled a little about how to direct and how to take a camera, how to shoot. So I had that idea. And I've also lived and work with people who are directors and stuff. So basically, that's one of the secrets that people doesn't know.
I see. Do your people you're working with not get uncomfortable thinking, oh no, I mean, he's a man of God, and I can't be acting like this, in front of him? Or are they able to say, well, I was only acting, so it doesn't matter if he's here or not?
Of course, it does happen, and even sometimes the way you are, it might not be being a prophet or a man of God, but sometimes the way you carry yourself can make somebody comfortable or not, So, but me, when it comes to, I'm not a religious man. I'm a kingdom man. I mean, I know you're a king, so you understand. I'm a kingdom man. A religious man, you can be a king and be religious, pour libation and do whatever. But after that, you become kingdom mind. You're real. If somebody kills somebody, tell the person you have killed. If somebody takes somebody's wife, you say you have taken somebody's wife. So you have to be real, be realistic, be yourself. Let people know that this is who you are. So when I meet people, I mingle. I learn from them, and I also make them to feel comfortable, to know that, listen, what you're doing, I can do. If I'm not doing it, that doesn't mean I cannot do it. I can fornicate. It doesn't mean... if I'm not doing it, it doesn't mean I cannot do it. I can smoke. It is a decision I have made not to. It doesn't mean I cannot. So at the end of the day, I make them to understand that, listen, this is a work you're doing. My way of life is this. But when it comes to work, it's acting. So it's not real. It's just an acting. So that's what actually we do. So I make them to feel comfortable enough to be able to operate in the job that you're doing.
Let me divert a bit and then maybe we'll come back to it. But, I'm sat here in this comfortable living room and it's so homely. And so then I ask, are you stuck here or you come back home? Because, we need you back home. But this is probably too comfortable. I mean, would you rather be here or you rather be home?
To be honest, home is home always. I mean, home is always home. Although in spite of when you go home, you don't feel comfortable. There are a few things that makes you feel like, let me go back, to England or something like that. We still feel like home is home. We must change things. So even now, as I'm talking to you, I have gone back home to establish Abiam Institute of Technology.
We'll talk about that later.
To work on all these things. Home is always home. There's a say, it says that anoma kosro yedaya uwa itakra enka so it will definitely come down. So basically, I believe that whatever I do here, I still need to look at where I came from. I see England as my second country. I don't see it as my first country at all. It's my second country. I love England so much. I'm a citizen, but that doesn't mean that I should forget about where I was from. That's the point.
Any plans of shooting a movie at home? Because so far, all the 3 movies I've seen were all predominantly shot here. Have any plans of shooting a movie at home?
Of course. We have one movie that we really want to do. It's a Hollywood sort of movie, powerful one. And even in these movies that we've done, like Abbott and the Last Word and Bismarck the Joke, all these movies, we had Hollywood stars in it, British stars in it, and we have Ghanaian stars in it, which we bring them from Ghana. And even in the last word, you could see that I shot a little, some small sort of things in Ghana, which, tells you that I can never forget, deny my Ghana, my Ghanaian origin. So we have plans to go to Ghana. All that we need is that the Ghanaians will accept us, because, home is home. So we hope that these, my people, will accept us.
Very good. And how is it for you to juggle both life, one as a man of God and one as a kingdom man, a normal average Joe? How do you juggle both?
I have this ideology that when you go to church, you go there to serve God, and then you study the ways of God and how to live in this world. After you come, you have a family that you must use, you practice, the things you've studied at church. And so you come to home, a family, and live as a family. When you leave your family and you're going to work, you go to work and have a motive of working. So I divide it in that three categories. So it becomes so easy. Nothing, comes across at all. I know I'm a man of God in church. It has to, reflect in my life, in my home, as my family home. When I go to my workplace, it must reflect. It doesn't mean that it has to dominate the people, but they must see God in me, and they must have a choice or a decision to make. So it doesn't, conflict anything at all.
Prophet, I know you had a very, very hard upbringing, absolutely hard, and in the last time we spoke, at times were not easy at all. This is probably the diametrically opposed to the life that you had. How many times do you reflect so that you don't forget, where you came from?
No, you see, every day in and out, one thing I've learned in this life is that God had installed so much for us. But to give us what He has installed in our life, He processed us to have knowledge, understanding, wisdom, and so that when we get that thing that God has given to us, we will not take it for granted. To be honest with you, I still don't see myself as a rich young man. I still don't see myself as a prosperous guy. I see myself as the person who was struggling in life. I see myself as a person who was going through all those calamities in those times. And I praise God for the position where He has brought me. But to be honest with you, I am the same person. It's just that circumstances has changed, but I am still that person. And if my circumstances can change, I must always remember my beginning, how I began as I was in those days. The reactions that I used to have for men, used to have for people, I shouldn't change, because that is what has made me who I am now. So I don't have to be proud and show arrogancy to people because I drive Benz or Lincoln Navigator. So therefore, I'm a big guy. So now I can't talk to anybody. The people that you are going up, you meet. They are the same people when you come down, you meet. And if you really want to go up, you must understand that you are stepping on somebody's head. So if you step on the person without understanding, the person can make you fall. So at the end of the day, you have to give respect to all the people, not even whom honor is due. There are some people, honors are not due to them. You must create some for them so that they will also experience honor. So I will never forget my humble beginning, where I'm coming from, the time that I wasn't eating for 21 days, 3 days, 7 days, I still practice them. For the whole day, I don't eat. Sometimes I forget I have not eaten because of what happened to me in those times. So I never forget where I came from at all.
I know last time we spoke again, you had a good relationship with your mother. She's not here, she's in Ghana. Do you still keep in touch, and are you still close to mom?
This is amazing. My mom will call me. She's not a call person. She will call me every 2 weeks. I hope she will not be angry with me. Every 2 weeks. And when she calls me, I know that she's looking for money. And you need to be careful of which money, how much you're giving her, because you have to understand that every 2 weeks she's going to call you for money. So even if you give her millions of CDs, she's going to call you every 2 weeks. So I've managed to get a nice house, a place to live, and every 2 weeks she knows, okay, I'm going to call my son for him to give me money. And one thing she does, so I'll ask her, would you ask whether I've eaten, how am I doing? It's still there, so we talk and we have, our moment, good moment. Sometimes she doesn't agree with me with some things. I don't agree with her with something. But we are not like mother and son. We like, she sees me as a father.
Okay.
So, and I see her as my little daughter, I see her as, a pamper her, now that she's growing, I still see her as, okay, this is my daughter, so I have to take care of her,
How much influence has she been in your life? Because you're very dynamic.
My mom has really suffered. She has really, really suffered. And I will never forget the day we went to a farm and we got something. There's something called akokron. It's like maggots, And we got this, and we came to cook, made fufu. And then after we pound the fufu, my mom told me to go and bring the soup. So once I went to, the kitchen, bringing the soup, and then the soup just, poured down. And all the soup came out of the pot. And I went to my mom. She said, don't cry. As my mom is telling me not to cry, she was rather crying. And I quite remember we went down there. She took all these maggots. We call it akokron. So she took all, and then she put it in the pot and put water. And when you cook soup, there is some line that comes around. She used her hands and brought all the line, and then put water and begged for salt, because she didn't have salt. And I could see it was water. And we were just putting the fufu, because that was the only food we had at home. And as we were eating, my mom was crying and begging us, don't worry, you just eat. My mom had 11 children. Wow. And there is no husband, So I have seen her going through that problem. And so that actually makes me to feel like, you know what, I thank God. I thank God that me too have come to this far. So that energized me to do more for people, to do more for myself, to make sure that I don't become so pompous, because man can be reduced to zero.
I'm going to take a break here. When I come back, we're going to talk about Abiam Institute of Technology, and that's back home in Kasoa. I want to find out what inspired it, because it's a whole different concept altogether, where you could probably sit in Kasoa and have affiliation with Oxford or some university outside of Ghana, doing online courses. What inspired that? Stay tuned, I'm coming back. Well, hello and welcome back. Now, Abiam is the assistant overseer of God's Solution Center. He's also, I think, the CEO of Direct Access. He's the owner of Abiam Institute of Technology. He's the CEO of Abiam Production. So this guy means business, and I think if all others follow suit, it would help us all. But I want particularly interested about the Institute of Technology. I mean, what inspired that? Everybody sets up a school and, they do their usual marketing and their humanity courses. And there you come in building this huge edifice, Institute of Technology. What inspired it?
To be honest with you, I remember one time having a dream about building a city. And from the city, I had a man who called me and said, gave me a book. It was a sheet, and she drew what I'm going to build: a city, bank, school. That what makes a city a city.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember I woke up and I said to the people that were around me. That time I was really struggling in life. I was sleeping in the church, and some of them laughed.
You're dreaming of building a city. That's a good one. You're not dreaming of a one-bedroom flat out of the church.
So it gave them the weight for them to laugh. But I told them the time will come, So I took it serious because it was a real sort of dream. But I remember when I married my wife, and then the day we got married, that was when God now showed me again about the dream. So I had to call an architect to come and then draftsman to come and then draw whatever I saw. Now I'm in the path of making it. So I withdrew everything. God told me that when you come, I'm taking you to England, and I will give you the money to do it. So, that has been a vision that I'm working on it gradually. So from the time where I was thinking that I need to get big money before I start. But when I began to start it little by little, I realized that God was, feeding in ideas of how to do it and everything. So we opened other businesses, to make sure we can get money here and there. And also we did an NGOs and making sure that God will help us to do whatever God wants us to do. But I remember I came to Ghana with 35 children. And when I came there...
35?
Yeah. And all these ones were street boys and girls, which have been cast out from their homes and other places. And they had hope in me, believing that I am their mentor. Mm. So I wanted to prove to them who they are, the opportunities they have got, to let them see where I came from, and to let them not to give up at all. Because if you are in England and you think you are nobody, somebody is fighting to come to England, at least to thinking that if I'm able to get visa to England, I'm going to become something better. Whereby you are here and you think you're nothing. So I took them there, and when we got to the place, these children really encouraged me. They did encourage me so much. And then they changed their ways. Some of them began to go back to school and everything. So I said to myself, okay, if these people can change and start making their life better, the vision I have got, I must also focus and to make sure they will look at the visions, what I've said I want to be, what I said I want to do. They have to look at me doing, so that also they also can do what they're supposed to do. So to be a mentor for them, I must go extra mile so that they can see that, okay, this man can do, so can we. So that was what made me to start this school. But it was a city we are building. So as a city, we had to start building a school first, so that when anyone comes around our city, which we have about 280 acres of land in Kasoa, and we have about 50 acres of land also at Kasoa, the same area you came. And we have other 10 plots, 20 plots, 5 plots, other small houses around, in Ghana. So what I said to myself is, if anyone will come to our city, then the people must be able to study and have the knowledge and have the concept of what we want to do.
The concept of the school is what excites me, because you seem to have affiliation with so many schools. I wasn't aware of that. I thought, you just enroll in the school and do this. What's the idea about having affiliations with other schools around the world?
You know, coming to England to study, you go through so much. You can pay your school fees and still go to the what do you call it?
The embassy.
The embassy, and they will give you no visa, and your school fees is gone. You know, people come here and then they deport them because you need to work to be able to meet up your school. What do you call it? Your school fees, and the school fees is very expensive. So we sat down, me and my wife, we sat down looking at it and say, okay, people come here and they are not able to finish their education and they go home without their certificate. Why can't we go to all these bodies, all these schools, and have you know, a business deal with them and say, okay, we want to go and start something in Ghana. We would like you guys to give us your modules and then your certificate to make sure that they will school, your people will teach them online, you know, they will see them face to face, and then we will, what do you call it? We will supervise them. We call it facilitate. So we have teachers who will facilitate the courses to find out that these people are seriously studying, not just that they are there. And so we had that deal with them. And to be honest with them, with you, they realized that, okay, if the people are not coming here, they will not charge them, what do you call it, students who are coming from abroad.
Okay.
They will charge them in moderate. And even we spoke to them to really reduce it so that it will be the system of Africa, because it's expensive to have pounds sterling, you know, in Africa. So we had to make sure it is reduced. So we had a deal with Cambridge and some of the universities in this country, LSBF, and also in America, IAO, Gatlin, and so we have so many schools in India, Britain, Italy, France, America, Switzerland. So if you want to go to school, all you need to do is to name what school you want to, and name what subject you want to do, and we will find a subject for you, and we will teach you on site, you know, make you to know, facilitate you, make sure that you are learning well so that you don't have any problem. And the certificate you get will come from the same certificate that somebody will pay about £40,000 to do, whereby we will give to you not that much.
Wow.
You know? So you can do your masters, your what do you call it, your certificate, you can do your diploma.
So let's say if I wanted to do study at Cambridge, whatever course that Cambridge does, I can do it via your institute.
Of course. And you pay through us.
Wow.
So you don't need to travel to anywhere. You don't need to travel.
So if I look through, and let's say assuming Cambridge does astrology, whatever it is, and therefore I want to do astrology, I can register with you and then you will give me the model.
The only thing that we are trying not to do now, which we will do in the near future, is something to do with medicine, because we need all those equipment.
Okay.
So that medicine, we don't have equipment, but other ones we do all. And the good thing is that some of them wants to come to abroad because they want to have a feel of Europe. We can help you if you come there. Abiam Institute of Technology will help you to be able to travel to America, England, Germany, wherever you want to, as long as when you come there and we know what exactly you're doing.
Wow.
We will show you how we can help you to go through, which is so simple, so easy, especially if you are a media person. It is so quick like this for us to help you to go, because you know we bring people from abroad to come and shoot movies, you know, and go back. So it's so easy for us to help you in that sense, to come and have a feel of England, and that's what we do.
Well, I must attest that I haven't gone to the institution, but all the interviews that we are going to do in the UK is being sponsored indeed by Abiam, his production and all his crew. So I can attest that, they brought me here to do the interviews, and I'm sure you are loving the new feel of PM Express in the UK. Sit back and enjoy the next series. We're going out there to meet his charitable side. You will be amazed. Don't move. Well, hello and welcome back to this exciting interview. Well, now we are at Old Kent Road, SE15 to be precise. Why are we here? Right here, Prophet Abiam Danso extends his philanthropic arm and rescues children who are going wayward, and he brings them back to God and back to what I say, cleanliness. I'm going to find out why, and also after he's rescued them, then what happens? Prof, let me say congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
But, right in the heart of London, there's you, a Ghanaian. Yeah. Now, you were somewhat, wayward in Ghana yourself.
Yeah.
And you find yourself here. First of all, I want to know, how do you come in contact with children who are struggling?
To be honest with you, as long as I have been in that situation before, when I see a child struggling, I feel within my spirit as if a child calling a father, looking for a rescuer. And that becomes as an opportunity for me to show my gratitude for me being rescued by God and by others. So I always want to use that opportunity to also show my gratitude for what somebody did for me. So that's how it gives me the opportunity to see what is happening. Because once before I was one of them. So this is what actually helps me to see who is struggling or who needs help. So then when I see that, then I go and help.
I mean, for those of you who missed the first interview, Prophet's life story was one of deprivation, where he had to sneak and literally live in the church, and the church wasn't even aware he was living there. So he has to sneak out, live on scraps, and come back and live in the church quietly. Now this is the man we are talking about here now, saving children. What happens? Do you bump into them, or the police will call you, or social service will call? Or?
We have some times where police, we will get a phone call from parents, sometimes that the children themselves will end up meeting me one-on-one. Sometimes whereby we will get a tip off that somebody is going to prison, so they are going to court, where we step in the court. And sometimes it comes by police, sometimes it comes by the council. So all various ways that we use that opportunity to get in contact with them.
I mean, there are two of your sons, now your sons, that are, with your permission, I'd love to talk to.
Yeah.
One who's now even a priest, and his life story for where he became to become a priest now is amazing. And with your permission, we'd like to hear his story.
Of course.
So stay tuned, and one of the episodes we'll hear that story. But so, what do you do? Take them home? Take them to a hotel? What do you do?
Most of them, it's a broken home, issues. Sometimes if, let's say, we look at some of the children where they feel not accepted, they end up being in a gang, which the gang give them sense of belonging, sense of respect. So they find themselves outside their homes, and so the family doesn't want to take them back, in their houses, and so that it gives them, takes them away from home. So such people, when you meet them, you have to give them self-belonging. You have to let them know that you are a family, you love them, you wish to show them that they are somebody, and make them feel comfortable. So such people, we bring them to our houses. I have a lot of children in my house, and then also there are some that you need to kind of hire a house for them, them to live in. and then gradually by teachings and gradual process, you end up, winning their heart. And then when they trust you, then you put them to the next level where you give them a job to do. So these are the ways we do things.
You see, in Akan they say that even though a dog has finished chewing his bone and is lying down and is asleep, as soon as you attempt to pick up the bone, it will bite you.
Of course.
Now I'm saying this because even if I was a parent and I wasn't responsible, and then you turned up to be, all of a sudden the father figure, I might get angry. I don't know if...
Of course, what happens is that some of the parents they tend to have a problem with that, because in this country what happens is that if you're able to bring out the street boys out of the street, it's money, whereby people are getting money out of, getting those children out of the street.
Okay.
And it has come to a time that the children have realized that the people are using them for money.
Okay.
So therefore they are no longer looking for anybody to come and rescue them. So if somebody like me, when I go there and I'm rescuing them, one, you have to get the trust of the children, and two, the trust of the mothers, thinking that maybe you want to use my child for money.
Okay.
Whereby we don't get funding from the government or anything, but it is our own works that we do by supporting, and that's what we do. So we get a lot of problems. One, if it's a girl, the parents would think that you want to sleep with them. That's why you are favoring them.
Of course.
If it's a man, some of the parents think that, okay, you're going to use this boy as your slave. So we get all sort of vibes from parents, and not only parents, I mean local people. Why are you saving this child? Are questions that people ask. But it takes time. When they began to realize the motive behind, it's not because of money, but it's because of giving them a self-belonging, making them to understand that it is a good cause, it's not an evil thought. They now buy into the vision.
Now, so what do? Do you continue, do you let them continue school, or you give them a job? Or, I mean, what then do you do with the child?
One of the things we do is that when they go to the street, they end up stopping schools. They because they get criminal record. And when you have a criminal record in Great Britain, one, you don't get a job to do. They will exclude you from your school. Your society, your life is shut down. So what we do is that when you are rescued, we make sure we work with the schools and the council, and to make sure that you go back to school and to be able to finish your education in the university levels. That's what we do normally.
And you fund that?
Yes. Wow. And also making sure that your criminal record is actually wiped off. Because sometimes it's not that it is intentionally of doing a crime. It's based on friends, influence, and other colleagues' influence. So that is why we make sure that when we get them, we look at why do they do it, what is making them to continue doing that. So we destroy that root and then give them a new life. So these are some of the strategies that we have been using all this while.
And then you have AYN, Abiam Youth Nation. I want to hear about that.
Abiam Youth Nation is just it's an awesome organization. It is organization.
That's loud.
Abiam is amazing. Abiam Youth Nation is an organization that actually gives opportunities to other youth that no society would like to take them. It has come to a time that Abiam Youth Nation are trained as future leaders. They are trained to know how to talk in terms of if there are politicians, to become politicians, to become leaders in the society, and also become entrepreneurs and businessmen. So we have different forms of businesses at this time, whereby it is all of them are youth working with the council, working with the what do you call it, local people. They do cleaning, they do painting, they do real estate, they do all kinds of businesses like spare parts.
And they handle and manage it on their own.
They manage their own businesses.
Wow.
You know, and some of them within, it's not up to a year, some of them are worth about £40,000, some of them are £25,000. I mean, they are getting money every month. Somebody is getting £5,000. So at the end of the day, being in the streets, you don't even get up to that, and they are being killed, they are being stabbed, they are being shot down. But here you get your money, it is legit. And some of them are doing film, as you saw. Yeah. Some of them are doing filming, some of them are, you know, doing music, and things they love to do. It's not, you don't need to be in a gang to have a gun or have anything to govern yourself. This is legit, something that you do that will earn you money.
Even though you said it's so easy, I mean, the little I know about gangs and cliques is that once you join, it's not easy to
about gangs. For you that is going to rescue somebody from a gang, you are a threat, and also you are risking your life, because, like, for instance, some of the children, the gang leaders and gang groups, they call, some of them will call me. I remember somebody came with a gun on my, you know, on my head, that I'll kill you.
Wow.
You know, and you need to you know, pray for your life. You need to find a way of you not being killed. You know, so it's not a small thing. They will threat your life, they will threat your family, including the person they want to save. And if you are not careful, that person you are saving can die, and you also can die as well. So this sort of work we are doing is not an easy task at all. It's very hard, you know. And as you know, in this country, the youth do something about it.
You see, now you are a Ghanaian and you find yourself in somewhat a strange land, semi-strange, because it's second home.
Of course.
Somebody will say, you know, why are you saving kids that are not Ghanaian kids? Because they are not all Ghanaians, are they?
No.
Yes.
The Ghanaians are few.
Yeah.
But the point here is this. I'm a citizen of the world. And I believe that it doesn't supposed to be one Ghanaian. In the first of all, as long as they are human beings, my kingdom mind tells me that I have to do something about it. You can never be a hero and think that, okay, I want to save only Ghana. You cannot be known by the world. You cannot be able to become a powerful person or become a great man by focusing on boxing yourself in a Ghana alone. But if you want to get to the next level, you must think about worldly, you know, thought. Have the mind of the world, you know. So being a citizen of the world, for me, I must be able to save everybody, whether black or white. We must be able to serve
now,
them.
Before I go, if the camera can just give me that, Abiam Day Nursery.
Yeah.
Just that. I mean, I think that's just diversification at its best. So, what, you have a nursery?
Of course. There's
2 minutes. Tell me about the nursery.
You see, the point, it's because of their bringing. It could be the beginning of their schooling. So I sat down and I said to myself, you know what, the best thing to do is, if we can win the youth, why can't we start from the babies, and put, you know, the fear of God in them, and put some manners in terms of how they should think as they are growing, having the knowledge, know how, so that when they grow, at least, because all of us, we had imaginations, and as we grew, we followed based on the imaginations we had when we were children. So we want to put an imagination that when they grow and they begin to implement them, it will help the society. And it's not only Ghanaians, because, you know, terrorists that are coming, they are not Ghanaians. We have never had any Ghanaian terrorists.
But they affect everybody.
It's affecting everyone, you know.
This is all time will allow me, but isn't that fantastic? I've been sitting back home in Ghana, knowing that somebody somewhat related to you is in the UK doing wonderful works. And as I said, it is Abiam Productions and Abiam who sponsors this trip giving us a crew, and we're going to come to you with fantastic interviews. So I want to say thank you to him, but stay put because it's going to be amazing. PM Express London edition. Thank you very much for watching.